Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Grossman Files. Hey, we got a great one for you today. So, yes, we got a great one for you today. Actually, this is a little bit of an unexpected little pop-up, and my apologies for those of you who are missing it live because I just decided to randomly go on. Let's just see if anyone shows up. And so, what are we doing today? Well, today, my friends, what's going on? We got Ray J in the audience. You could call him Ray, or you could call him Jay, or you could call him Ray J. So, what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be showing some pictures that really have not been seen in the public domain by Son of Sam researchers. And they're pictures that only I have. And I wanted to change that. I want you to have them too. And what are they? Well, they're pictures of the Suriani and Esau crime scene, but they're not graphic. It's basically shows the next day, the parking, the area, the neighborhood, and so on and so forth. Aerial photographs. I actually showed some of these photos in my walk and talk, my recent walk and talk about the shooting of Loria and Suriani and Esau over there in the East Bronx. But I figured I'd dedicate a show to these pictures so you could actually see them in detail and we can talk about them and we can put them out there for people to screenshot and, keep them for your records or distribute them as you see fit. Of course, there's not going to be any graphic photographs. I do have, unfortunately, I do have graphic photographs. Absolutely horrible. I will never show those photographs publicly, and I promised all of Valentina's friends that they would never be shown by me. So those will stay private. But we do have photographs, and one of the reasons why I want to do this, besides just getting it on the historical record, is also for I don't know about how you relate to the subject of Son of Sam, but I know that when I read the ultimate so-called evil, the so-called the so-called ultimate evil, right? The alleged ultimate evil, which wasn't even ultimate or evil. Why? Because it didn't exist. Something can't be evil if it doesn't exist. I mean, I don't know, maybe it can. But anyway, Maury was stretching with that. But when I read The Ultimate Evil, to me, visuals were really important. Like I said the other day that I even added some, like when Mike Carr shot Judy Placido and then got into his Cadillac, the gold Cadillac, and drove away. I actually envisioned him flicking a cigarette out of his mouth and throwing it away. And maybe you did the same thing. So I think that visuals are an important aspect to this story. And what better visuals than of police photographs from from the day of the shooting and the day after the shooting, showing you what the neighborhood looked like. And so you can have a more accurate picture in your mind's eye of what the city looked like in 1977 as opposed to what it looks like now when we look at it on Google Earth. And I figured we would look at the photographs and we would then look at Google Earth and see the neighborhood. So I want this not to be a I want this not to be a hugely long episode, but I had these and I was bored, so I figured I'd pop on and just see what happens. And we got 16 people. My man Dominic Calandra, new viewer. Good evening. Hey man, Dominic, I really appreciate you coming on over. Of course, my boy Crime Spot. That dude's a genius in his genre, his particular genre, what he does. And I got nothing but respect from my boy Crime Spot. So any of his fans that come on over here, well, we really appreciate you being here and welcome. My man, I'll try to get you some lines in today's show. We'll see what's going on. And my man Derek Larson of the world. What's going on? Yes, that's why. Thank you very much for that comment, Derek. And that's why I did my first video 4 years ago. Because I was like, yo, Ultimate Evil is a work of genius. This guy, Maury Terry, he got it right. I mean, you got to remember where I was at that point in my life. I really, truly believe the ultimate evil. In the years 2006 and 7, I was writing letters to the editors of the Riverdale Press, excoriating them. Why aren't you investigating what took place in Van Cortlandt Park? I mean, yo, Rodney, I looked like a freaking lunatic when I was doing that stuff. I was actually telling people that Berkowitz had help, that John Carr's nickname was Wheaties, and so on and so forth. Anyway, listen, let us get to the business at hand, and let's look at some of these photographs. Well, I know that I said that this was about Suriani and Esau, but there just happened to be one photograph of the Forest Hills area. And of course, this was 1977, the years before drone photography. So they had what was called helicopters back then. And they went above the Forest Hills area. We're seeing here, this is the train station down here. This is the main street. I think this is Continental. I don't really remember the names. I'm pretty sure this is the main street, Continental here. This is the street where Virginia Voskerichian was killed. But here, right behind this car here, let's see if we can. Right behind this car here is where Christine and John Deal were, where Christine was killed. And of course, not even 100 yards away, right over here, a month later, where my pointer is where the body of Virginia Voskerichian lay after Berkowitz walked up to her, pulled out his .44, and at point blank range shot a bullet in her face. I mean, this is the guy who the modern day D channels of the world. This is the people who Berkowitz's fan club is freaking worshiping. I love you, David. David, Manny's evil. He has your worst intentions at heart, David. Anything you want on your Amazon wish list? Yes, I want things from my Amazon wish list, please. Send them over to me, and God bless you, and may Jesus. And then he hits them up with a Bible passage and a do and a DDD and whatever the hell else he wants to throw in there. I mean, these people are sick. This freaking dude shot people at point blank range, and he has modern day worshipers. So this is the Forest Hills section of Queens. And of course, you can see the video that Catalano and I did, where we walked this whole area showing you how the jogger, and Maury lied about the jogger scenario, and Mr. Barlow, who was over here, Maury Terry lied about that. A teenager from Yonkers did this Voskerichian. And then, of course, you have the absolute lowest of the low of the Son of Sam alleged research community, actually alleging that Virginia Voskerichian was part of a call girl ring at Columbia University. I mean, are you out of your minds? Call girl ring at Columbia. So therefore it was tied in with the Son of Sam for some inexplicable reason. I mean, Maury was literally going off the deep end. I mean, all right. I know I said I wouldn't be long in this video, but I guess I'll say a few things that I want to say. So I actually never watched the Sons of Sam. I never had watched that documentary until fairly recently. About 2 weeks ago, I watched it. And Maury was portrayed as a lunatic in it. I mean, it was actually very fair and balanced. And I suggest you go back and watch it knowing what we know now, because at every scene I was like, that's freaking Moloch. That's Gimel Ishbi right there. You see the footage of Maury showing Conan art to Berkowitz. You see how Berkowitz is so uncomfortable and is clearly just telling Maury what he wants to hear. And then you could go and reference the letters between them that are on that alleged People versus David Berkowitz site. So it can get very interesting rewatching it. But yeah, the dude went off the deep end, and you can see how his closest allies and friends weren't really down with the program. Sarah Wallace thought he was an absolute lunatic. She was very political and diplomatic in what she had to say, but nevertheless. All right, so let's carry on. Oh, I want to show this on Google Earth. So I have this up here. Whoops. Do I have Google Earth up? Hold on one second. You know what? I don't have it on Google Earth. But it would make sense for me to get it on Google Earth. So give me a second here. My apologies for the dead air, folks. I thought I had this up here. Okay, so I got it. So give me a segundo over here. Dame un segundo. Here we go. All right. So you just saw that picture. So no, Rodney, no, I never watched it until recently. My dealings with that whole milieu was just directly with Seaman directly, because for some inexplicable reason, the guy called me after my 5th or 6th video, and he was curious about what I was doing and why. And so that started my relationship with him, such as it is. Dude's threatened to sue me 3 times already. All right, so right here is where we're talking about. So let's go into 3D. All right. So basically is identical looking at this stage of the game. So I'll try to let me get the picture back. So that's the old days, and that's the new days with not quite the same angle, but Virginia Voskerichian was shot right here, and Christine Freund was shot right here. And you could watch me and Catalano's video where we show you that Berkowitz indeed had a million places to hide out, including a spruce tree if he wanted to. No, not necessarily this one. But Maury Terry had you think that there was no tree cover here. I mean, the whole place is botanically landscaped. And it was back then too. All right, so let's carry it on. Let's carry it on now. Let's carry it on now. Let's carry it on. All right, so we move into the Bronx here. And of course, this is a picture of Alexander Esau's car. And this was just a horrific nightmare of a scene. This was the mania that was April 1977 when Berkowitz was going absolutely out of his freaking mind up in Pine Street. He was sending multiple letters to the cars about the dog barking. And then, of course, he shot their dog on April 21st, just a couple days after this. This was also the shooting in which he left his note. And so clearly this is the night of the shooting. Let me get back my chat here. Give me a segundo. And we see it's a Mercury. And we see the street that we've kind of become all familiar with through the walk and talks. And there's a huge oak back here, which we'll see more of. This was a horrific nightmare scene. You do not want to see what's in that car. It's completely terrible and horrific. And this is who the modern day D channels worship. Right? The guy who did this. And even he acknowledges that he did this one. Even if you're a cult head, the Bronx was my territory, he wrote. The Bronx was my territory. So anyway, Hey, what's up, Gary? So, of course, this picture is taken on the Hutchinson River Parkway service road, and like we read about this, and you see this depicted fictitiously in movies. But this is the street, and this is where it happened, and this was the when it happened, and this is the night it took place, and this is right after. So, so the cops then went back the next day to take a series of photographs. One of which, this one here, I think is actually one of the most beautiful photographs I've ever seen. Uh, I mean, it's brilliantly composed. Uh, it carries a lot of emotional weight. And when I say composed, what I mean is look at the way that this is framed. It's framed so well. The tree is off to the side, which is so important. And notice how the limbs perfectly mirror the corner that it's in. I don't know whether they did this on purpose or not. The way the detective is standing, looking, the loneliness of the scene, the horrific nightmare that just took place there the day before, night before. I think this is one of the most haunting pictures of Son of Sam, and it's never been seen before. So, of course, I wanted to put this out there in the out in the public square. And let me just what I've done is I'm putting these also as overlays. So the one that I just showed, in case people want to screenshot it, you can get it there. And then this one here. And really, not much more to be said. This oak tree still exists. We've seen it a gazillion times in the video series. In fact, Gary, you and I were right there, right underneath that tree. So, of course, if the photographer turns directly around, he'll take a picture of the house that this took place in front of. And this house still exists, and the house next to it, I don't think still exists. I think this house over here still exists. In fact, let's check it out and see. Give me a second. While you're looking at that, I'm just gonna go find it on the on Google Earth while you're absorbing that photograph. Uh, okay. So, yes, right here. Give me a second here, please. Sorry, I'm not as prepared as I normally am. I just literally decided to do this on the spur of the moment. What's going on, Roro? How you doing? If anyone, this is a good opportunity. If anyone wants to call in, I'm down with the program. So feel free to call in, anyone, if you want to join in. And what are we looking at here? Well, actually, I'm not sure that let me just get. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is the house as it stands to this day, and then I'll show you so it's funny, it's blacked out again. Let me just get the so there's the old picture, and then there it is today, and it's also blacked out. It's interesting how they're blacking out the Son of Sam sites. And then there's that tree. There's there's the same, and there's that same building in the back. So the tree is still there, older. This growth of trees is still there, though. It's all still there, essentially. It's kind of untouched. There's that building in the back. So, of course, Gary, you lived in that area. I don't know. That wasn't your particular area, I know. But that's where it happened right there. And of course, here's a wider view of the house that we just saw is right here. Okay. And then where the detective was standing was right around here. And this is looking down the Hutchinson River Parkway. And we can actually get this as well. So here we go. That's kind of the best I can do of that particular. Oh, let's go there. Of that particular, they still have it blacked out. Isn't that interesting? So that would be this photograph here. I can't maneuver quite as well in street view, but that's what it looks like. And just so we can get this, I don't have to keep on going back and forth. You know what the street looks like now. You've seen it in my videos, and of course, here's the site. And if you're wondering about like where exactly it happened, just always look out for this big tree right here. Okay, if you're in the area, that's the tree. It's funny how trees make their way into this story over the years. We've had this tree, we've had the cross on the tree in Untermeyer Park. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but my tree friends always coming back into play. What's up, Ralph? Dude, my man Dominic is still chilling. Wheel says, wonder why it's blurred. Probably because they requested it somehow. I don't know. It'd be weird. I don't know. But we've seen this blurred, and we've seen the alleged the site of so-called the Placido site, which is definitely not alleged and so-called. So here's again looking more down the Hutchinson River Road there, and this is look like the day that it happened. Hey, someone's calling in over here. Thought I hear someone calling in over here. Hold on one second over here. Not legend, so
Hey Manny, how you doing? I guess it was my duty to call in.
How you doing? Well, does this must bring back? I mean, you never hung out in this area, right? When you were, because this wasn't your area.
I mean, occasionally we'd go. I've been to every area pretty much.
Gary, when this whole Michigas happened, did you actually visit the site of the shooting? I don't know if we ever asked you that.
No. It
You broke up there. I can't. Your audio.
was too up at the time.
You're too upset. Yeah, your audio's breaking up, my man.
How's that better?
Yeah, it's a little overmodulated. Maybe that's why.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it was just too upsetting at the time.
So when was the first time you visited that site?
Oh God. Probably a year or so later, out of curiosity.
Uh-huh.
But then never again until you and I went there.
Right.
It's just too much. It's too much. I mean, the only reason I was able to do it with you is because I had you to give me a little courage.
So what else is happening, my man?
No, that's nothing really new. Just just trying to maintain and
all right, cool.
Keeping tabs on the series and
Well, we're basically at the tail end of everything. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I don't want to get into particulars of any
that's something.
documentaries that may come
Uh,
out, but if that happens, then we get a new lease on life. If not, then we just fizzle out and fade away. It's no big deal either way.
yeah, but at least you keep the series up, and people can just look at it at their leisure. Unless something else pops up, like Judy popping up or someone, or
Oh yeah, yeah. The door is always open, the light's always on, as they say.
or if Val's sister Nancy, if she wants to come
True.
on one day, but Gloria's more close with her. I mean,
Right.
she'd be the one to contact for that.
Yo, so Gary, I'm gonna there's just something happening with your audio that's making it kind of like a drag.
Uh,
So it's a little heavy on the audience. So listen, let me just finish out the show and
okay,
but thanks for calling in.
okay,
We really appreciate it. And of course, you could just see yourself out. I mean, I don't, whenever you
yeah,
want. And hopefully some other people will call in too.
okay, sounds good.
All right, Gary. Thanks, man.
All right.
Okay, bye. All right. So now we are seeing this picture here, which starts a series of 4 and our final pictures of and of course Gary, for those who don't know, was a stalwart of the series. He was very close with Valentina Suriani, the crime scene photographs that we're looking at tonight. And he's been in several videos of mine as a very good friend. He knew Billy the artist growing up. I mean, this guy's been a godsend, and I really do believe that. I mean, this he's really been an amazing resource for our series, and we should be very happy that Gary came along and became part of the history of our video series. So what we're seeing here, of course, is the beginning of what I'm calling the sweep of the area, taken aerially by a helicopter. And this area here, actually, I was like, where is this? Because it doesn't make sense to me what I'm seeing. I'm looking at a graveyard. I know there's a graveyard near here, but this isn't near where they were shot. And then I realized that what they were doing was taking a sweep of the entire area. So what I did was I actually found this on Google Earth, which is right here. I matched up. What I did was I matched up the little, like that little golf club thing looking thing in the center, right? That's was the landmark I was looking for, and I found it here. So, and that does match up with the photograph. So let's look at that, and that's here, and then we'll sort of zoom out and we'll see where that is. So what this photograph is, what this sweep is of like, in order to make it make more sense, you have to kind of turn it this way. The road where so that's where this picture was taken, right here. Okay, and then if you follow this road up here and then end up over here, I believe this is where the hold on, let me just confirm that. Nope, sorry, I get it all confused. Okay, hold on. See, all right, let me start this again to make sure I got it right. There we go. So if you were to start from here, the area where the shooting was is up in here. And what we're about to see, starting from this photograph again, and sorry for the confusion, because again, I'm not I'm not really all that prepared for this. Just decided to pop on while my chicken one pot is cooking. And I feel like spending some time with my buddies in Son of Sam land out there. So this is picture 1. This is picture 2. This is taken here. Some landmarks for you to see, of course, is that building that's in the background of the picture with the detective. So the shooting would have taken place right about here. Okay, so whoops. The shooting would have taken place right in front of about here. So then our last two photographs are basically of the same thing. It's a sweep of the area. We see where Val lived over here, 1950 Hutchinson River. This is the Hutchinson River Parkway. This is the service road. The shooting took place at the extreme southern end of this photo, or, you know, to the right, I should say, of this photograph. This is St. Teresa's Avenue. Maybe we will look at that just for a second. So give me a second. Okay, so that would be taken from this angle here. Basically, sort of like, that's probably the best I'm going to be able to do. St. Teresa's Avenue. I remember as a teenager, I went to St. Teresa's Avenue because there was like some festival there. I barely remember. There were a lot of Italians in that neighborhood still. This was like 1988. So that's what we're looking at. And then let's look at the last photograph. And again, we're not doing sensationalistic stuff. This isn't gory. This is just the actual real world photographs that the police were taking. And this was an entire sweep of that entire area that we just saw. There's that building. There's Valentina's building. There's the Hutchinson River Service Road. And also this gives you an idea as to the ease in which Berkowitz could make his escape. He did the shooting right here. He drove down the Hutchinson River Service Road. He got right on the Hutchinson Parkway right here and then drove right home. It was very, very simple. All right, so let's just briefly look through all of these again, and then I'll look at the chat, and then we will say goodbye. So Forest Hills, the picture of the Mercury. To me, the most beautiful photograph in Son of Sam. That's just my opinion. The house in which, in front of, this also bespeaks that this wasn't like a lover's lane. This was right in front of someone's house. Berkowitz was getting careless. The previous shooting, he had shot someone right on the street at 7:30. I mean, this guy was just completely going mad. With each attack, it was getting more and more just out there. Continuing along Hutchinson River Service Road, looking down the service road. The overhead sweep starting down there, south in the cemetery, and then sweeping up more northerly. And then the picture of Hutchinson River Service Road, and then the entire area. And that, my friends, is it for the pictures. So let me just look at the chat. Again, I didn't want this to be a super long one. So Roro says I think that is St. Raymond's Cemetery, which is where Valentina's buried. And Gary and I did a video there as well. And it's funny because Berkowitz has a letter that he wrote to D Channel, his friend and lover, not sexually, but she loved him back then in the day, just like these sickos, these sickos today that worship this guy who would brazenly shoot someone in the face. Um, uh, I forgot what I was gonna say. St. Raymond's. Oh yeah, he wrote a letter that he went searching for Valentina's grave, and he was looking and looking, and that he did find a Margaret Suriani, and but he never found Valentina's. So yeah, exactly. It's not a lover's lane. I mean, that whole thing is a myth. This is what I talk about in this documentary that hopefully is coming out, which I don't want to speak too much about, but I speak to the myth of Son of Sam. We were sold two myths. We were sold the talking dog story, and then we were sold Maury Terry's tales of satanistic and druidiatic urine practices. I mean, the dude was obsessed. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. So between those two opposing myths, what's the truth? And I really feel like our video series is what has given us an understanding of the truth, and we did it just simply by knocking on doors and speaking to people, but also the only Son of Sam video series and research group that has actually analyzed the documents, thereby gaining more power and credibility, and thereby enabling us to get documents like you have just seen today, stuff that previously before was just sitting in some drawer somewhere, forever rotting, never to be seen. And while it's not the most exciting photographs you've ever seen, it is part of the Son of Sam historical record. So therefore, I'm happy to get it on the record. All right. So I think that's basically it. My chicken one pot is about to be finished in the oven, and I'm looking forward to eating it, maybe watching the Mets, although I'm not really down with the Mets and their $765 million man. Baseball has lost all charm for me. I'm an old school fan. I love the game I don't know, even pre 2015. But that's a topic for another story. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you so much for indulging me on coming up on this so impromptu and unexpected, and actually getting quite a good little audience. Everyone, I do have a video coming up soon, a walk and talk with the great Mike Lorenzo. So just stay tuned for that. That should be in another week or so. All right. Take care, guys.